TV soap news and spoilers say that in the gilded shadows of Fairmont Crest, where manicured lawns hide the festering secrets of Atlanta's elite, Beyond the Gates continues to pulse with the kind of raw, unfiltered drama that has soap opera devotees glued to their screens. Since its explosive premiere on CBS in February 2025, this groundbreaking series, created by the visionary Michelle Vaughan, has shattered expectations, not just as the first new daytime soap in over 2 decades, but as a bold tapestry woven from the threads of Black excellence, intergenerational trauma, and the intoxicating pull of forbidden desires. Set against the opulent backdrop of a gated community that symbolizes both sanctuary and prison, the show follows the Dupree family and their entangled neighbors as they navigate love's labyrinths, betrayals that cut deeper than a surgeon's scalpel, and ambitions that could topple empires. At the heart of this whirlwind is Vanessa McBride, portrayed with searing intensity by Lauren Baglioli. Vanessa isn't just a character, she's a force, a high-end real estate mogul whose sharp stilettos have stomped through boardrooms and bedrooms alike, leaving a trail of broken hearts and lucrative deals in her wake. As the owner of an agency specializing in luxury properties, she glides through Fairmont Crest like a panther in silk, her every move calculated, her every smile a weapon. But beneath that veneer of unassailable poise lies a woman fractured by a loveless marriage to her high school sweetheart, Doug McBride, Jason Graham, a union that's more business merger than marital bliss. The mother of twins, Vanessa juggles the chaos of adolescence with the quiet desperation of a heart starved for passion. Her best friendship with Dr. Nicole Dupree Richardson anchors her, yet even that bond is tested by the undercurrents of envy and unspoken longings that ripple through their sisterhood. Recent episodes have plunged Vanessa into a maelstrom of grief and revelation. Doug's untimely death, a shocking twist that unfolded in a rain-soaked car crash engineered by whispers of foul play, has left her adrift in a sea of suspicion. Was it an accident, or the long-overdue reckoning for Doug's shadowy dealings with the likes of Joey Armstrong? John Lindstrom's Joey, the silver-tongued devil with a grin that could charm the devil himself, slithers through Fairmont Crest like a serpent in the garden, peddling influence and indulging in vices that make the community's moral facade crumble. As a ruthless power broker with ties to everything from underground real estate scams to whispered affairs that could unravel dynasties, Joey embodies the dark underbelly of wealth. His arrival earlier this season sent shockwaves, igniting feuds that have pitted the Duprees against interlopers and exposed fractures in alliances once thought unbreakable. It's within this tinderbox of tension that a tantalizing question hangs in the air, one that's ignited fan forums, late-night Twitter threads, and heated debates in living rooms across America. Will Vanessa's estranged brother finally emerge from the fog of family lore to claim his place in Fairmont Crest? The idea alone sends shivers down the spine. A prodigal son, long banished to the periphery of Vanessa's meticulously curated life, storming back with baggage heavier than a Learjet. Viewers have caught fleeting glimpses of Vanessa's past in fragmented flashbacks, a childhood marred by their parents' acrimonious divorce, where Vanessa, the golden child, was shuttled into privilege while her brother was cast adrift into the unforgiving currents of resentment and rebellion. Whispers from early scripts hint at a sibling rift born of jealousy, Vanessa inheriting the family empire's keys while he was left with scraps and scars. Could his return, timed so perilously with Doug's funeral, be the spark that ignites a powder keg? Imagine the drama. A brother who arrives not as a grieving kin but as a specter of reckoning, armed with secrets that could expose Vanessa's complicity in her husband's downfall or unearth buried family fortunes tied to Joey's illicit web. The speculation reaches fever pitch with the bombshell casting of Vaughan, the chiseled veteran of daytime's most iconic sagas, whose impending debut has the Beyond the Gates fandom in a frenzy of fevered theorizing. Announced just last month by Soap Opera Network, Vaughan's addition to the canvas marks a seismic shift, injecting a dose of heartthrob charisma into a narrative already brimming with brooding intensity. At 52, Vaughan carries the gravitas of a man who's weathered storms, from his breakout as the brooding firefighter Cliff Yeager on Beverly Hills 90210 to his soul-stirring portrayals of legacy heirs like Lucky Spencer on General Hospital 2003 to 2009. And the tormented priest-turned-redeemer Eric Brady on Days of Our Lives, 2012 onward. His recent return to Salem for the emotional send-off of Drake Hodgson's John Black was a masterclass in restrained anguish, a performance that reminded us why Vaughan isn't just an actor. He's a vessel for the human heart's most jagged edges. Michel Vaughan, the show's creator, head writer, and a titan of soap craftsmanship who's penned epics for General Hospital and The Bold and the Beautiful, has been coy about Vaughan's role, teasing in a Deadline interview that it's a hot male addition sure to thrill longtime fans. Her history with Vaughan, overseeing his GH tenure, adds a layer of delicious intrigue. One can't help but wonder if this reunion is poetic justice, a chance to reimagine the chemistry that once crackled between Lucky and the Port Charles elite. Vaughan's vision for Beyond the Gates has always been audacious, a predominantly black cast exploring the nuances of affluence, identity, and inheritance in a genre long starved for such depth. Yet, with Vaughan's arrival, she's poised to bridge worlds, blending the familiar allure of soap royalty with fresh narratives that challenge and captivate. So, let's dive into the maelstrom of possibilities. Theory 1: Vaughan as Vanessa's brother. Picture this: a man named, say, Marcus McBride, stepping off a private jet onto the rain-slicked tarmac of Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, his jaw set like granite, eyes shadowed by years of exile. He's not the boy Vanessa remembers, the one who once shared stolen moments of rebellion in their childhood home's attic, plotting escapes from their parents' gilded cage. No, this Marcus has been forged in the fires of adversity, perhaps a stint in the military that left him with ghosts and a purple heart, or a shadowy career as a private investigator, unearthing truths too toxic for polite society. He arrives at Doug's funeral, a somber affair under weeping willows where black umbrellas bob like mourners' heads in a sea of hypocrisy. Vanessa, clad in a sheath of midnight silk that hugs her curves like a lover's regret, freezes as he approaches the casket. Their reunion isn't a Hallmark embrace, it's a collision, words like daggers, accusations flung like confetti at a funeral wake. "Why now, Marcus?" she'd hiss, her voice a velvet whip, as the Dupree clan watches from afar, Nicole's medical instinct sensing the familial fracture lines. "After all these years of silence, you slink back when the vultures are circling?" And Marcus, with Vaughan's smoldering gaze piercing the gloom, would lean in close, his breath warm against her ear. "Because blood calls to blood, Vanessa. And yours is screaming for the truth about what really killed Doug." From there, the drama unfurls like a venomous bloom. Marcus could uncover evidence of Joey Armstrong's hand in the crash, perhaps a tampered brake line linked to a land deal gone sour, one where Vanessa's agency stood to gain millions. His investigation would drag him into the underbelly of Fairmont Crest, allying him uneasily with the Dupree patriarchs while clashing with Joey's cadre of enforcers. The tension builds to operatic heights, late-night confrontations in fog-shrouded gardens, where Marcus grapples with his sister's transformation from vulnerable girl to iron-fisted queen, and Vanessa confronts the brother she abandoned, his pain a mirror to her own suppressed rage. But oh, the emotional devastation. Flashbacks would paint their shared history in vivid, heartbreaking strokes. A teenage Marcus shielding Vanessa from their father's infidelities, only to be scapegoated when the scandal erupted, Vanessa's tearful betrayal as she chose the family business over fleeing with him to start anew. Vaughan's ability to layer vulnerability beneath bravado, think Eric Brady's confessional torment, would elevate Marcus from mere plot device to tragic antihero. And in a twist that would have viewers gasping into their popcorn, what if Marcus's return unearths a deeper secret? Perhaps he's not just her brother, but the unwitting heir to a fortune their mother squirreled away, one that Joey has been hunting like a bloodhound. The courtroom scenes alone, testimonies laced with half-truths, alliances shattering like fine crystal, would rival General Hospital's most legendary trials, with Vanessa forced to choose between fraternal loyalty and the empire she's bled for. Yet, as tantalizing as this sibling saga sounds, the rumor mill churns with an even more incendiary alternative: Vaughan as the scion of sin himself, Joey Armstrong's long-lost son. John Lindstrom's Joey is no mere villain, he's a symphony of malevolence, a man whose charm is as lethal as cyanide in champagne. With his salt and pepper mane and eyes that promise both salvation and ruin, Joey has woven a web of deceit that ensnares everyone from the Duprees to Vanessa's inner circle. Imagine, then, his progeny. A chip off the old, rotten block, striding into Fairmont Crest with the Armstrong arrogance distilled to perfection. Let's call him Jax Armstrong, a name that rolls off the tongue like a curse wrapped in velvet. Jax, played by Vaughan with that signature blend of roguish allure and simmering menace, would be the ultimate bad thug, tattooed sleeves peeking from bespoke suits, a smirk that disarms before it destroys, and a moral compass spun wildly off true north. His introduction could be pure theatrical fire, a blacked-out SUV screeching to a halt outside the Armstrong manse during a gala fundraiser, Jax emerging like a storm cloud in tailored Armani, scattering the glitterati with his unapologetic swagger. Joey's reaction? A flicker of paternal pride masked by wariness. After all, this son was sired in a haze of youthful indiscretion, abandoned to foster homes and street smarts while Joey climbed to power. Jax's arrival isn't benign. He's come to collect, demanding his birthright in the form of shares in Joey's shadowy conglomerate, the one laundering money through Vanessa's luxury flips. The father-son dynamic would crackle with Shakespearean fury, Joey's manipulative monologues clashing against Jax's blunt force retorts, each scene a powder keg of unresolved daddy issues. Lindstrom and Vaughan, both masters of layered villainy, would feast on this. Picture a rain-lashed balcony confrontation where Joey sneers, "You think you can waltz in here and claim what's mine? Blood doesn't buy loyalty, boy," and Jax fires back, "It bought you everything, old man. Now it's my turn to bleed you dry." But here's where the drama ascends to delirious heights. What if Jax sets his sights on Vanessa? Not as a conquest, but as a cataclysmic obsession. In this fever dream scenario, Jax, fueled by a toxic cocktail of revenge and raw attraction, begins a slow, seductive siege to steal her from under Joey's nose. It starts innocently enough. A chance encounter at Doug's memorial, where Jax offers Vanessa a handkerchief and a husky condolence that lingers too long. "Grief suits you," he'd murmur, his fingers brushing hers, igniting a spark she hasn't felt since her wedding vows turned to ash. Vanessa, raw from loss and isolated in her widow's weeds, finds herself drawn to this enigmatic stranger, his bad boy edge a stark contrast to Doug's predictable pallor. As their paths cross, perhaps collaborating on a high-stakes property deal tainted by Joey's influence, the flirtation builds to a blaze. Envision the stolen moments, a midnight tour of a derelict mansion on the crest's edge, where Jax pins Vanessa against a dust-moted mirror, his lips hovering inches from hers as thunder rumbles outside. "Your father's poison runs deep," she'd gasp, even as her hands betray her, tangling in his shirt. "Then let me be the antidote," he'd reply, his voice a gravelly promise. The betrayal would gut Joey, transforming their paternal standoff into a full-throated war, disinheritments threatened, alliances forged with the Duprees to undermine Jax's play. Vanessa, torn between the security of her world and the chaos Jax ignites, would embody the soap's core theme: the gates that confine us are often the ones we build ourselves. And the fallout? Explosive. Joey's rage could manifest in sabotage, a rigged exposé framing Vanessa for embezzlement, or worse, a violent clash where Jax's thug heritage rears its head, fists flying in a dimly lit parking garage, blood mingling with Atlanta's relentless downpour. This storyline wouldn't just be interesting, it would be revolutionary, a delicious inversion of Oedipal tropes laced with modern edge. Jax as Joey's son stealing Vanessa, a woman Joey has long coveted in his web of conquests, would layer the narrative with psychological depth, patricide by proxy, where Jax doesn't just topple his father but devours his desires. Vaughan's track record with tortured romances, recall Lucky Spencer's star-crossed saga with Elizabeth Weber, makes him ideal for Jax's duality, the brute who weeps in the shadows, haunted by abandonment. Fans would devour the slow-burn seduction, charged glances across crowded soirees, anonymous gifts of black orchids left on Vanessa's doorstep, and a pivotal love scene in a storm-battered gazebo, where lightning illuminates their union as both salvation and damnation. Of course, Beyond the Gates thrives on subversion, and Val Jean's pen has a penchant for appending expectations. Perhaps Vaughan embodies a hybrid horror, Vanessa's brother and Joey's son, a bombshell revelation born of a long-buried affair between Joey and the McBride matriarch. The DNA test episode would be Emmy bait, Vanessa's world imploding in a sterile lab, results clutched like a death warrant, as Jack/Marcus grapples with dual paternities. Or maybe he's neither, a wildcard operative sent by an off-canvas foe to dismantle the crest from within, his charm a Trojan horse packed with dynamite. As October's chill seeps into Fairmont Crest's eternal summer, with Vaughan's debut slated for late fall sweeps, the anticipation is palpable. Will he be the brother who heals old wounds or hacks them open anew? The son who inherits hell or hurls his father into it? Whatever role fate, and Val Jean, decrees, one thing is certain: Greg Vaughan's arrival will ripple through beyond the gates like a stone cast into obsidian waters, shattering illusions and birthing legends. In a genre reborn from its own ashes, this casting isn't mere addition, it's apotheosis, a promise of drama so vivid it bleeds into dreams. Soap enthusiasts, mark your calendars. The gates are creaking open, and whatever storm brews beyond them, it'll be worth every thunderclap.